Behold, guys, this franchise has finally gone out of its 3DS comfort zone and on to the Nintendo Switch.
This is a franchise?
Silly James, man, this game was never in 3D, it was always two-dimensional.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our look at on Box Boy plus Box Girl.
Oh shit, we finally got gender equality in this game.
The series that Hal has been telling Nintendo, please, we want this to be our mascot, not Kirby. And Nintendo said, give us Star Allies 2.
What?
Man, you guys are squares, you gotta think round.
Yeah, you gotta think outside the box.
Because it's been a thing since, like, and you'll see in Star Allies when we get around to it, like, they are obsessed with this QB guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it is a cute character to see every now and again. It's just that, yeah, by and large, well, squares can never beat circles. But on that note, ladies,
He's probably also got, like, one of the most infamous amiibo on the market.
yeah,
Wanna know why?
Why?
because it's stupidly expensive and it was only released in Japan.
Yeah.
I find it so weird that it's stupidly expensive, and yet it's just a simple devil named cube.
Rare.
With eyes and stick legs.
You'd be surprised what can really rake up the big bucks. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on to our game proper. Box Boy plus Box Girl is actually the fourth game in a series of puzzle platformers starring this cute little box character named QB.
Okay. Seems straightforward.
So one day he was walking across the green grassy fields.
He can reproduce by budding.
Kenya?
Kenya!
Kenya?
And also then immediately discard his brethren like the trash they are.
Well, who's to say that they're actually their brethren and more like, you know, he's just shedding his own skin like a snake.
They're nothing but empty
Ow.
husks.
I love looking at his eyes when I actually love looking at his eyes when he gets the medals. It's like the boxes in Crash Bandicoot, like, ow, ow, ow.
Great, but you got every single thing on the menu.
Well, it's kind of funny thinking about it, because instead of being showered with pain, you're being showered with pleasures and rewards.
Oh, noise.
That sounds very amusing out of context, the whole showered with pleasures.
Yes. You'll be showered with pleasure. Anyway.
With divine treasures and pleasures.
So you can create platforms. What's that little thing in the upper right mean, that limit?
That's pretty much how many boxes you can pull out per stage. In this case, you can only pull out one at a time. And this is one thing that I forget if this was a thing since the first game, but like this game really does encourage you to well, again, think outside of the box and use as few boxes as you can in order to reach the goal.
It's been a series staple.
Right.
Okay.
Coming from someone that's played the 3DS games thus far, I actually haven't played this one yet. But basically, every stage in the game has a box limit until you're able to get the crown somewhere in the stage. Once you secure the crown, you can use as many boxes as you want.
Which I think is something they changed for this game, because now the crown actually doesn't disappear if you use too many boxes. Instead, if you use too many boxes, then you just don't gain as many, that currency that keeps on raining down on poor QB.
The
Well, I
medals?
do want to ask, like you mentioned, like, the crown won't disappear, you just don't get its, like, the bonuses. Does that still, what Icky said about the 3DS game, where it's like after you get the crown you can use as many as you want, is that still the same in this case as well, even if the crown doesn't disappear?
No.
These are pro strats.
Exactly.
I noticed that James Man here is actually going for the non-conformist route. He doesn't think in squares and pixels, he thinks of,
Corners.
I don't know, askew dynamics.
Corners and stacking them in smart ways to, get those clear. This is reminding me kind of more like, honestly, not gonna lie, looking at this, and maybe I'm already mistaken, but already looking at this, I'm astonished that Hal Egg or whatever hasn't made a Box Boy game for mobile.
Hal Egg?
Hal Egg is like their division that works on things like a part-time UFO.
Yeah, it's their mobile division.
Granted, they did make a reference to it. Like, occasionally you can see QB on, like, the main menu screen once or
Oh yeah, no,
twice.
and you get a QB skin.
There you go.
Yeah. But I think that's only if you have, like, the Nintendo Switch app connected to your phone. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
But anyways, I do notice that in place of the crowns, you actually do get more medals for using less boxes.
Right. That's pretty much what I was getting at earlier.
So you still kind of have a box
Yeah,
limit.
technically you can get the crown regardless of how many boxes you use, but that's not going to mean jack and all unless you want to get the rest of your rewards. So that's pretty much that's what they changed.
Right. But
Ooh,
yeah, I
looks like we got our first hazard. Jagged
Which, again,
triangles.
I'm just going to use one box.
But yeah, I can definitely see the structure of why. I'm just saying I can totally see a structure of how this could totally lend itself to a mobile game, and I'm surprised they haven't done anything with it yet.
Such a nonconformist rebel, this James man.
It's,
Oh, that was close.
It's like it's called my OCD getting the better of me, Iki.
So why is it? But all I've been seeing is a freaking box boy this whole dang time. What the heck is this? Why is this called a box boy and a box girl?
Because you're a box boy, and there's also a box girl somewhere in there.
This isn't some rolled up shenanigans, is it?
Huh?
Joking.
He's trying to be topical.
Shush.
Well, more on all this later. But anyway, one thing that should also be said is that, again, like, for the longest time, the Box Boy series, which comprises of 3 games, have only been 3DS exclusives. And again, this is the very first time it's ever gone, well, not only outside the 3DS, but also to a home console. If I'm not mistaken, the first 3 games in the series were called Box Boy, Box Boy, and Goodbye Box Boy.
Bye bye box boy.
Or Bye Bye Box Boy, my bad.
You know, you gotta buy them boxes.
Ha. But that should have been the end of it, right? Like, bye-bye, it's all done. Series is over.
I think by this point, by bye-bye, they just mean bye-bye 3DS, hello Switch.
I will admit, some of the subjects covered in these games could be a bit morbid, I gotta say. Well, not morbid, but more so dour.
It's the classic Kirby style of having a very cute outer shell while suddenly jumping to a demonic and depressing, morose inner shell.
The Earth's core in this case is literally just a Lovecraftian abomination.
Beat the boxes.
Except it totally isn't.
Here, it's hip to be square.
Yeah.
Not unlike them circles in Dreamland. Am I right, fellas?
Meh.
When-
Oh, you mean the circles in the background right there? And
I was
there,
about
and
to
there,
say there's circles in the
It's our
background.
family.
Oh
Speaking of
no!
which,
My baby!
This is the point where Box Boy says, again with this crap.
Oh no.
This void, I guess, seems to be... Oh, God.
oh crap, we're doomed.
It's the end of the world.
It's the work of the nefarious Mr. Mime.
No. So if I'm correct, Icky, this void has been like a constant like pest to the box kind for years now.
Mm-hmm.
What
Jeez.
the-
Basically, every set of levels is separated by a little bit of a black smoky void right there. You can't cross it, otherwise you die.
Yee.
And by die, I mean you just pop and go back to the last checkpoint you were at.
Now that I think about it, I think I remember in the first game, technically you could jump in there in the hub, and it just reset. You're just reset.
Oh.
So what was that glowing box that just went to Box Boy there?
Your choice.
Actually, I should say it's not Box Boy we're playing as, but to go into specifics, we are actually in control of QB or QD. Well, actually, no, not QB. QB or QC. QC is the girl.
QC. I'm just saying Cutie was... They totally could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
They probably just wanted to be as original as they possibly could, because they were already
Yeah.
sort of pulling strings with QB.
So what are we spending those medals that we get on?
First, a gumball machine.
Ooh, I love these.
But you can also
Alright.
spend them on stuff like music and comics and power-ups you can use on the levels, assuming you really need them that badly.
There are pertinent power-ups now?
Special offer.
I say that because in the 3DS games, there were certain costumes you could obtain, like say the bunny ears, that let you jump to the height of about 2 boxes.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
You gained
But-
freckles.
But yeah, I guess for this game, they just figured they leave the costume stuff for just aesthetic, and here, well, they do just have regular power-ups that you can acquire, and oh look, cat ears.
Yeah. Aw.
Triangles.
Honey, but so cute. But yeah, and every time you start a new game, I do believe you do get the first 3. You get 3 rolls for free. Afterwards, you gotta pay around 30 time medallions or whatever
Fluffy
those are supposed to
tail.
be.
I call them
Well,
medals.
milk anyone's hard. What was that? Was that Iki?
I call them medals. But I'm
Okay,
guessing
yeah.
they're not too hard to obtain considering you already have like 60 from the tutorial world.
Yeah. That being said, again, like a lot of stuff costs around the 30 medal or up route because again, you get them so frequently.
Fluffy tail.
I also noticed that compared to the 3DS games, you actually have a lot more malleability when it comes to the costumes. Like, it's not just putting on one particular costume, now it's like an entire set that you
I
can
see.
change individual bits of.
This is the first time it's ever been like linked to like different. This is the first time it's ever been categorized like that, like between eyes, ears, and all that.
Yeah, because in the 3DS games, you usually get them as like a, one individual costume.
Mm-hmm.
But here you actually get like bits and pieces of a costume. Which is leading me to guess that if you manage to mix and match like a consistent costume, like say you get all bits of the bunny ears, the bunny tail, the bunny face, and the bunny feet, I guess you get something along the lines of, the costume's natural ability, which will allow you to jump twice as high.
The monkey's chain, the monkey's fist, a monkey. That's how it works.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
So there is an option for a tail for one, but you can also play a tail for two, which
Thank
believe it or
you.
not, you can also play solo if you wanted to. In
Oh,
a way,
God.
it's honestly not unlike playing snipper clips by yourself.
Oh, okay.
Though you're not snipping or clipping anything, you're just, well, hitching a ride.
Totem pole.
Mush.
Yeah, mule, yeah.
Moosh!
So, is there
It is
any
more convenient, granted.
is there any differences that can be done in controlling both of them at once, or is it just this game of piggyback the whole time?
I'd say it's more so you're using each other to achieve the same goal.
Pretty much, and not to mention that even though there usually is like a box limit, it applies to both of it technically doesn't apply to both of them. So like say if you can only use one box at a time, QB can use one box and QC or whatever her name is can use one box herself.
Oh, so it
Much
doubles.
like how in Box Boy, you had the main gimmick of the second game was you were able to create like two individual block structures. So it's kind of like that in this case, where you're controlling two QBs with their own box limits.
Gotcha. It should be said, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the Box Boy games are concerned, I've only played the first one and this one. I honestly did not bother with the second or third game just because I kind of wanted to see about being the first game first, which I never did.
I'll admit, they're actually pretty fun.
They're good for what they're worth. It's just that after a while, there is a sort of, I don't want to say outright tedium to them, but it's like,
There you go.
damn it, QB.
Careful. And also that's kind of silly, but I see that's how you can tell who created which blocks.
Yeah. A very helpful little indicator.
So now, similar to snipper clips, is it possible to destroy blocks you've created?
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, you have the ability to destroy those blocks yourself with the press of the X button.
Mm-hmm.
Which is only really useful in cases where, like, say, for example, I think it's mostly useful when you're doing advanced tech, like, say, trying to hang yourself from a ledge and you need to get off.
Oh
Yeah.
god, some box tricks in this game can actually get pretty complex.
Of course. I mean, it's a puzzle game. Of course they're gonna stretch your brain out to the high heavens.
No, but like, in this case, it gets pretty dang ridiculous. I'm not entirely sure how to explain it. Like, also, there is a reset button for like the
Okay.
entire stage.
Hype, have you tried any of these games out? Or games similar to this sort of, like, box creating one?
I can't say I have, to be honest.
It's the best championship boxing game you will ever experience.
I mean, it's not really boxing.
And at that moment, he just dropped the block.
Yeah, well,
No,
I was about to...
twice.
Too
Yeah.
far.
Damn it,
I was
QB, stop dropping bricks.
He's conforming, man.
I will say, like, just for the sake of a joke, like, just taking a look at this game's art style, I'm thinking to myself, wonder how many thousands of dollars they saved by having an art style this simplistic.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have a point there, considering it is very simplistic. But it also not only is it cost effective, but it's also it's also friendly to your internal saving system.
Not to mention, it makes you think with what you're given.
Fair. But yeah, it is nice to see them. It is nice to see them branch out and doing different platforms, and it's kind of like with a Pushmo.
Yeah,
I enjoyed seeing it on the Wii U when it came out. I hope you get a Switch version at some point.
that would be nice.
Just one last question before because it's near the end of the part.
Yeah.
Just one last question. When it comes to the medals, I noticed that you have the standard, diagonal boxes, and you have the army medals. Is there any difference between the two?
I think the time medals are excuse me, the army medals you mentioned, I think are primarily used for the gacha machine, while all the other kinds of medals are used for the other shop.
Oh.
That's just a pure guesstimate on my part, though. For all I care, they may as well be the same damn thing.
Okie dokie. Anyways,
Okay.
I'm gonna get to purchasing this game ASAP, because it's relatively cheap. How much was it?
I think it was like 10, 15 bucks.
Oh, sweet. This is still the deal if I say so.
Not too shabby.
I'd say so too. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed our little look at on Box Boy plus Box Girl for the Nintendo Switch. I am James May Extreme.
Lucky Jack 20.
I'm a hip square.
And how come they never make games about triangles? Do you know how underappreciated they are?
I swear.
They're too pointy.
They pop everything they touch. Till next time, guys.
It is my gift. My curse.